Welcome back to SnowRunner. We have a first look of some actual gameplay for the game. It looks fantastic, and this video was originally uploaded by GameSpot Trailers, so I'm going to leave a link in the description to their channel. And what we are going to do is first watch the gameplay, because one of the developers is talking about the game and how it works and stuff. And then after that we will come back and we will look at some images I've taken to kind of break down the trailer, and we will talk a little bit more in depth about how it's all going to work. So without further ado, let's get into the gameplay.
Hi everyone, I'm Oliver Hollis-Like, Creative Director at Saber Interactive, and today I'm going to be showing off our upcoming game, SnowRunner. You are about to embark on an epic open-world adventure with off-road simulation like you've never seen before. The terrain and vehicle physics have been meticulously reproduced, with realistic mud, water, ice, and of course snow. The entire game can be played in solo or with up to 4 players in co-op. Your mission is to complete dangerous contracts in order to grow your fleet and become the best off-road trucker in the business. Let's start by talking about the stars of the show, the vehicles. We have a bunch of branded vehicles for you to choose from light off-road scouts to heavy highway trucks. Each of them can be customized to your liking. Are you going for versatility or specialization? It's up to you. You can mod vehicles to do better on the road or off with careful engine, gearbox, suspension, and tire selection. Snorkels can even be added for an easier time in the water. A flatbed can be attached for bigger hauls. A maintenance add-on can be placed so you'll be able to repair other trucks, including other players. You can even add a seismic vibrator module to go searching for oil. When exploring SnowRunner's open world, always keep an eye on where you're going. The 30 square kilometer map is filled with danger that you will need to overcome with careful driving. Precise accelerator control will be needed to get you through most areas. Spinning your tires too quickly is a great way to get stuck. All-wheel drive can help give tires that extra bit of traction, and differential lock is always a good way to maintain your control over the road. With careful stick shifting and a cool head, you'll get out of seemingly impossible situations. The trick is feeling for just the right spots in the mud where you have the most traction. When you find them, attack carefully. Accelerating too fast will make the tires slip and put you in a worse place than when you started. If things look hopeless, you can always use your trusty winch to get you out of tight spots or ask a friend for backup. The many regions and open-world maps you can explore are filled with contracts and hidden secrets. Each contract is designed with the SnowRunner sandbox in mind. Contracts can be anything from a simple delivery mission to rescuing a damaged vehicle. There are no waypoints, no set paths. The method to complete the task is entirely up to you. Keep in mind that the material's weight and how it is packaged will affect your vehicle's center of gravity. As you complete contracts, the world will start to change. Bridge reconstruction and road clearing could potentially reshape a map and will give you new and more exciting routes to explore. These new routes can then be taken to do even more ambitious contracts. I hope you enjoyed SnowRunner's gameplay. We've got a lot coming up when the game releases, including modding. Conquer the wilderness on the 28th of April in the ultimate off-road simulator, SnowRunner.
So I've taken some images from the trailer, and the very first one I'm going to show you is, if you look in the top right corner, you'll see that the cargo is drilling spare parts. So there is a lot more than what we already know in terms of how much cargo there is. It's nowhere near just logs anymore, which is amazing, because as fun as it was to drive logs around, it got very boring and very tedious, like super quick. But there are now even mixed contracts, which we'll go into a little bit further in a moment. But also looking at this image in the bottom left corner, you can see that the game has a completely updated UI from MudRunner. And the best thing is you can still see how many litres per minute you're using. You can see your fuel capacity. And in general, the UI just looks a lot smoother. Moving on to this image where we get to see some crane gameplay. I don't know how many different cargoes you're going to be able to do this with. I'm hoping there are a lot, but in this one you can see that the cargo being lifted onto the back of the truck is pallets of cement. And another thing I'd like to point out about this image is you can see the size of the crane, you can see the pallets that are going onto the truck, and if you just take a look at how long the truck actually is, as well as being careful traversing the game world and making sure you don't get your truck stuck, you also need to take into consideration how long your truck actually is, because if there's tight corners and stuff, it could well be a bumpy ride and you might have to respawn back at a garage and start your route all over again. In this image, you will notice there is a cash price underneath the trucks. And that's because instead of simply selecting the truck you want, you actually have to complete contracts, you earn money and XP, you can buy new trucks and upgrades. Alongside that, there are a few trucks towards the end that say they're not available in USA. So there are going to be certain trucks that will only be accessible on certain maps. And I'm hoping that's the case for Taimyr, which is in Russia. I'm hoping there are certain trucks that when we're in Alaska, you can't use Russian trucks, and when we're in Russia, you can't use American trucks. And I'm hoping it doesn't limit it too much, but you can't just take whatever truck you want to and go do a contract with it. You have to select different trucks to use and basically add to the diversity of what you're going to be driving, so you don't always just pick the same truck. Then, looking at the customization of the vehicles, alongside the gearbox, the engine, the tyres, and so on, there is actually winch customization. There's different types of winches you can apply to your truck. Then there are add-ons, as they stated in the trailer. You can get a seismic vibrator module, which is going to allow you to actually find oil. So I believe you'll have to, maybe if you're playing co-op, you'll need one person to go pick up the oil barrels whilst one person's finding oil. And then you'll have to extract the oil, out of the ground or something, and fill up the barrels with it, and then go and take full oil barrels to a certain area as a contract, certain things like that. I think there's going to be so much more depth in this game as to what there was in MudRunner, and the more I see on this game, the more I get excited because the better it looks. As well as the separate terrain types, so we've got mud, snow, there's raging rivers, so there's water areas. We're also going to see mud and snow mixed together, which will form a kind of slush. And as well as it looking pretty cool, you're driving through a snowy area, then all of a sudden there's one area that has snow and mud mixed together. It's going to bring on a different type of challenge. But not only that, if you look at the truck in this image as well, it has 4 sets of tyres on each section on each axle. So you have 2 either side of the truck. But if you look at the tyres on the inside, they look just like plain sort of tyres. And then you look at the ones on the outside, they're bigger, they're bulkier. I believe they're completely different tyres. Because not only that, they mentioned that when you're going through certain areas, instead of just going full throttle, you're actually going to need to be careful and feather the throttle so that you don't get stuck. Because sometimes if you put too much power or not enough, you're not going to go anywhere. You have to get it spot on, because otherwise you could potentially make things even worse for yourself. This image is crazy because if you look at the depth of the mud, it shows just there's another clip in the trailer that shows, I believe it's a Hummer that falls off the side of a cliff. But in this image, you can see that the depth of the mud goes to insane levels, to the point where pretty much the whole wheel is covered. And it looks like the truck is sort of like the Hummer or whatever it is. It looks like it's sinking. And if that is the case, I don't think your winch is going to be able to get you out of that. So you might need a rescue mission. You might have to respawn at your garage. You might need some friends to come along and pull you out. But it looks like in this game, if you are not careful, there are so many things that can screw you over. And then the final one we're going to take a look at is another contract. You'll see fuel trailers on the back of this truck, and you'll see in the top right corner that the contract is to deliver bricks, wooden planks and fuel. So there are loads of different cargo types in the game, not just 3 or 4. And there are also contracts that require delivering multiple types of cargo. So you might have to go to a garage, set up some fuel trailers, go to a fuel station, fill those tanks up, and then drop those off at an area, then leave the area, go pick up bricks, load your truck with bricks, and then drive them back. It looks as though the contracts are going to last a lot longer than just going to a log station, picking up logs, driving them down to a lumber mill. And also, we have heard that there are endgame contracts, so they could have a lot of depth to them with several different cargo types we have to deliver. But at the same time, I believe the longer and the harder the contracts, the more XP and money we're going to earn. With some of the trucks costing over 100,000, it looks as though you're going to have to put a decent amount of hours in to actually get some good trucks that are capable of traversing the terrain a lot easier. But on that note, I'm going to leave the video there. I want to know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. I cannot wait for this game to release on the 28th, and if there is anything else that we find out beforehand, I will be sure to do a video about it. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.